rather have my integrity and give my true opinion and get a 0 on an assignment than have to lie about what I really believe.
That's professional.
Because you're a moron. You didn't have to lie. You just had to prove your viewpoint. It was literally an opinion piece. Like they gave you all the freedom to voice your opinion, and you still didn't use it. You still couldn't cite a source. You just said God made men and women different because God wanted to. That's fucking stupid. You're stupid.
Victim Samantha Fulnecki, an Oklahoma junior crying religious discrimination after receiving a 0 on a poorly written essay about gender roles in the Bible. Now conservative media and politicians are making her the poster child for academic freedom, prompting the University of Oklahoma to place the instructor on leave. Someone who happens to be trans, a fact the right is trying to capitalize on in their culture wars. Many speculate the whole thing was a setup to manufacture outrage, because Fulnecki's mom's an attorney with a track record.
Pictures of her just don't get any better, do they?
On in their culture wars. Many speculate the whole thing was a setup to manufacture outrage, because Fulnecki...
I mean, Jesus Christ. Is there not a single image of this woman to make her look normal? Yeah, no, there's literally no image that makes her look like a normal human being. What a shame. She looks like a background character from Roseanne. She looks like a background character from BoJack Horseman, a show that depicts most people as animals. What animal she may be? I mean, something that evolved from Abby Lee Miller's tax fraud and psychosis, I'd assume.
His mom's an attorney with a track record of grievance-centered conservative activism. But here's the thing. The First Amendment doesn't protect essays.
She did cite freedom of speech. Those lawmakers did cite freedom of speech. You can have the freedom of speech. The freedom of speech was there for you to write that essay in the first place. It just so happens that your essay was shit because you write at a 5th grade reading level. Sorry, you're not a victim, you're just stupid.
The instructor for the course said she agreed with the original F grade. Even Elon Musk's Grok agreed after being provided the assignment and rubric. Fulnecki didn't fail because she's a Christian or conservative. She failed because she wrote an essay that didn't meet the criteria and used personal ideology over actual evidence. She wrote things like, women naturally want to do womanly things because God created us with those womanly desires in our hearts. Society pushing the lie that there are multiple genders and everyone should be whatever they want to be is demonic, and that gender roles are how God made us. Is the right really arguing for DEI for conservative Christians? Share the story to support Mel Kurth, the instructor placed on leave, and to counter the right's narrative.
Fucking wild. Why was the instructor placed on leave?
Yeah, bitch!
Why was the instructor placed on leave? The school added the failing grade was supposed to account for 3% of Fulnecki's final grade, would not affect the junior's academic standing. So she's bitching and moaning because she just wants to play the victim. Fucking wild. I mean, 650 words for 3% of your final grade. That's called a fucking layup. If Australia's educational system was as stupid as America's, I would eat this shit for dinner. That's how fucking easy it was. And she couldn't even do that. She had to play the victim. Yeah, it doesn't really say why the person was put on leave. So if it's to do with marking this moron's paper as a 0, then power to the professor. Find another job in a better university. But if it's because of threats from conservatives, then honestly, there is nothing more trashy than an angry conservative these days. An angry Republican.
I didn't think it would blow up this much.
Trashy ass administration, trashy ass people. When Trump dies, hopefully they disperse, but we'll never know.
I didn't think it would blow up this much. It's definitely more than what I expected. I expected, some people to hear about it and help me with it, but
help you with it? Like help you study? Like give you a document of citing sources that we all get at the start of our course? Maybe help out in that regard, or help in another way, to confirm your victimhood, which is what's happening with conservative lawmakers and conservatives all over Twitter. Is that what you expected?
More than I thought, for sure. I think a lot of people are assuming that I meant that transgender people are demonic, and that's not what I meant at all. That's definitely not what I meant. And I didn't mean...
You wrote it though. You didn't call the bullying or harassment demonic. No, you called the people choosing to identify in a certain way demonic. You can't even remember what you wrote. You're that stupid.
The demonic part in an offensive way. But
there's no way to argue that you didn't mean demonic as non-offensive. Like, what the fuck do you mean by that? You call something demonic, you obviously elicit some form of hatred towards that group of people that don't affect you at all, that only affect you now because you failed the assignment.
It was more so, the sentence said something like, society pushing the lie that there should be multiple genders is demonic, but it was more so, it wasn't like targeted at transgender people that they are demonic.
We've read her paper, we're listening to her talk. It really is a case of a stupid, a fucking moronic conservative getting more attention than what is owed. And you know what? She's probably going to be rich. She's probably going to make it work for her, because that's what conservatism is. It's playing the victim, profiting off of that victimhood. Riley Gaines now talks at schools for around $30,000. She's making it work for herself. She came 5th in a race. The only way that I can think of this person not working it out in the realm of becoming a conservative talking head is that she is so dumb. We read her paper. We've listened to her talk. She is dumb. People like Ben Shapiro, people like Steven Crowder. I wouldn't go as far as to say that they are smart, but they are good talkers. They at least can structure a sentence. They at least have somewhat of an education. This moron is probably going to end up leaving university in the dumbest state of the United States. She's probably going to try become a conservative talking head. Then people will realize that, one, she's a woman. Why are we listening to her? Because that's what all conservatives have been saying on Twitter. All conservatives on Twitter are saying, why bother with university? You should be a stay-at-home mum. That's what they believe. So they've already turned on her in that regard. And two, if she does become a talking head, people won't take her talking seriously because this is what we're listening to. She can call trans people demonic. She is moronic, and it's painful to listen to.
Samantha Fulnecki, the University of Oklahoma student who wrote a paper and got a 0 and then proceeded to say, I'm the victim, everybody's coming after Christian conservative, and the professor that graded the paper, the trans professor, is now on leave, getting a relentless amount of death threats. And I just have to say, I am so fucking sick of this constant conservative victim complex. It's absurd. I'm sorry. Samantha Fulnecki, you are a 20-year-old white sorority girl in Oklahoma who's a Christian. You're not being persecuted. White Christians are not being persecuted. That's the most absurd shit I've ever heard in my life.
I do wonder when it will get to a point where, you know, we can debate on the marginal issues in terms of left versus right all we want. I do wonder when those people who care about the marginal issues will wake up, will turn and look at what the Republicans are doing, what conservatives around the world are doing, and be like, holy fuck, they are the biggest fucking crybabies. They are the dumbest population. They cry about fucking everything. Because that's all it means to be a conservative, is to be a victim, is to be a crybaby, profit off of that because your crybaby victim supporter base wants someone to reflect those values. So I do wonder when the talking point that conservatives are stupid, our victims are using that stupid victimhood for their own personal gain, will start becoming more mainstream, because it feels crazy to look at what marginal issues conservatives are talking about, to just realize the underlying tones are them being victims of situations that they are creating in their own head.
And now you get to go on Fox News and be in the Oklahoma State Legislature, and everybody says, oh my God, how sad. She stood up for her beliefs. That paper looked like it was written by a 6th grader. She didn't even follow the rubric. No wonder she got a 0. And what a surprise. I found out recently that her mother, Christy Fulnecki, was defending January 6ers in 2021. She's an attorney. She was suing the state of Oklahoma or cities in Oklahoma for mass mandates in 2020. She shows up to Trump rallies and gets interviewed about, oh, what'd you think of our Lord and Savior, Donald Trump? Absurd. It's another grift. It's another Riley Gaines. Congratulations, you're a 5th place swimmer. These people are absurd. They do nothing but push hate and bigotry relentlessly, and it's tiring. I'm done with it.
I love it. It's tiring. As much as it's created a market for people like myself to be like, yeah, conservatives are stupid, it's also pretty annoying to have to put up with their own victimhood. It is quite annoying. You know, one day they're winning against the woke left, they're on top of the world, they're in power, and then same day, next minute, they're like, oh, we're under attack from the left. When it's literally just more educated people saying it how it is, calling them. All right, hopefully this is the last video that I see of this idiot talk. I'm hoping, like Charlie Kirk, the talking point around her sort of dies down, you know, after all the hype. Conservatives are barely talking about Charlie Kirk anymore. They don't give a fuck. Donald Trump never gave a fuck about Charlie. Yes, last video, I'm going to be hopefully listen to this idiot's voice.
I was told to give my opinion on gender stereotypes and gender norms, so that
you're also told to quantify the opinions with any sort of empirical evidence. You know, it didn't just have to be the Bible. You know, there have been instances in my university journey where I disagreed with the thesis of the assignment, and I quantified that, and I addressed gaps in my research. I accounted for biases in my personal life, and I quantified that, and I got a good grade. This idiot refused to cite anything, refused to do anything of note in the context of intellectualism, in the context of tertiary and education. She flat out refused. She said, God made men and women differently, and that's it. Called trans people demonic. That's it. She would have gotten like 1 mark if she backed it up with like a source. But she can't, because that's not the way that reality skews. Reality skews liberal because that is the educated take. In the context of higher education, she is in college. She is a college student. She shouldn't be shocked when she is held to a college standard of quantifying her arguments, of addressing biases in her own personal life. But she is a white woman, Christian nationalist. She's not going to address any biases in her life because her whole life she's been told that they are the most important thing. And now she has become a victim of them because she was told that being a Catholic is all you have, so you have to defend it against the woke left. She is a victim of conservatism, of Catholicism, of everything that seeks to make conservatives, to keep them stupid, to make them stupid, to keep them stupid. Because that is the impetus of conservative movements around the world. God damn, I was sort of spitting there. Forgot what we were talking. I got 4 seconds into this video before that tangent.
That's what I did. I didn't think that was me needing to be brave or have courage. I thought I was just sharing my opinion.
Yeah, you're so brave. A white woman Catholic in America. So brave. You are the most persecuted person in the world. A college student getting marked badly because she didn't do a college grade essay. Shut the fuck up. There's nothing brave or courageous about being a conservative in America. You guys are just fucking stupid.
I was asked to do, so that's what I did, and I talked about the Bible and what God says about gender norms. And
you can talk about the Bible. Cite the Bible as a source. It's easy to do. We were taught that day one. I remember that class. I was sitting up the front. I was terrified. I didn't know what all those commas meant. I didn't know how to structure all those citations. Literally day one. It is the end of the year. It wouldn't be day one for her in college. And furthermore, 650 words, 3% of her final grade, 25 points. That should be a fucking layup for anyone who's not a moron like her.
About how there are 2 genders and things like that. And the response I got back was a 0 on that paper, and the TA saying that my writing was offensive and that I needed more empathy.
No, actually, it's actually not what they said. I can see how you got to that point because you you obviously failed to read what the assignment expected of you. So you again obviously failed to read the feedback because you went straight to victimhood. But no, actually, they didn't say you just needed more empathy. You actually needed to be something of note in the context of being intellectual, in the context of empirical writing, empirical evidence, professional writing, which is the college standard. So yeah, how far this victimhood goes, I mean, I'm honestly not sure because I don't think she's as bright as her mum may think, you know, what seems to be the orchestrator for all this outrage. I don't think she's as bright as conservatives right now think. I think people will continue to listen to her speak and realize that she really is nothing special. She's just another moronic conservative who couldn't hack university, who couldn't hack college, and will probably fade into inconsequentiality. Because again, that's what it means to be a conservative. She's got her 15 minutes of fame for being fucking stupid. Everyone laughed at her on the internet. We laughed at her right now. And that's it. I don't see her becoming a mainstream talking conservative.